Ray Charles could have seen this one coming. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Amazon driver out there in the Providence, Rhode Island area who was caught filming women and girls in the bathroom while disguised as a transgender because he's an XY male, a 23-year-old guy. I don't know his name, but I'll place that in the box if you want to do some investigation. But this guy got caught with cameras everywhere, cell phones, cameras on the shoes. It was a whole big crazy mess. This was completely preventable if the people in charge would have paid us some attention, saying, hey, you can't have these biological men in the same bathroom as women. But they didn't listen, and here we are. Now, before I go any further, let's roll the clip. This is from local news out there in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island, that type of area. After we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you my 2 cents and my deep detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
An Amazon driver is facing serious charges after Rentham police say that he took pictures of women and girls in a public bathroom. As WBZ's Julie McDonald reports, his arrest follows an investigation that started this summer.
This investigation spanned 8 weeks. Police arrested Jacob Guerrero in September for his alleged crimes at the outlets. What search warrants then revealed was far more disturbing.
It was a mother and daughter reported that there was a person acting strange, man dressed as a woman, wearing a wig.
When Rentham police responded to the outlets in August, where women reported a man behaving suspiciously in a ladies' room, an investigation began that would uncover far more sinister evidence. That witness photo showed what appeared to be pen cameras, recording devices laced into the man's sneakers. He was gone that day, but surveillance video soon led investigators to 23-year-old Jacob Guerrero of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. A search warrant gave police access to his phone, which contained photos and videos of child pornography.
Some of the children he allegedly had on his phone were 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Guerrero was arrested leaving the Amazon parking lot in Rentham. He worked there as a delivery driver. Investigators say it was his work that led him to at least one victim.
He had returned to a home that was on his route and actually filmed a child through a second-story window.
Police say much of the evidence was recorded out of state during trips Guerrero took to New Jersey and California. The chief knows the overwhelming majority of delivery drivers visiting our homes are safe, hard workers.
And if you have one person who's done a horrific thing or a bad thing, I don't care if it's police or the media or Amazon drivers, it certainly isn't a reflection of, all of them, and that's not a picture we want to paint.
And praise from investigators for those original witnesses. Girls who were out shopping, noticed unusual behavior and did something about it, ultimately protecting other victims. Outside Rentham District Court, Julie McDonald, WBZ News.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, I don't even know where to start. First of all, this guy needs to go up under the penitentiary. And as a matter of fact, if I could be the king, if I could just rule by fiat, I'd say, hey, take him out back and do what you got to do and get it over with, right? Because you got pictures of kids and women in this bathroom. You got a disguise on. This is very dangerous. This is why the whole mask thing, the mask thing needs to stop, because you're able to disguise your face without any kind of suspicion. Okay, when you go into a gun store, you got to take a mask off because that's dangerous to be there with your mask on. Okay, you might have a gun on you. They got guns behind the counter. You might want to go in there and steal. It's just too much going on. So you got to take your mask off. And that should be the same thing in general, in my humble opinion, because we know that the masks are only so effective. So if you want to go somewhere, be out in public, I need to take that mask off. Same thing with the whole beekeeper outfit. You're able to, conceal your identity. If you're in the bank like that, it's crazy. I remember there was a certain time, if you were to go into a bank with a mask on, they called the police immediately like, hey, this guy trying to rob the bank. This guy shouldn't be in here with his mask on, covering his face, concealing his identity. But now you can do it and it's fine. It's kind of weird, but I'll move on. The whole point is that this guy shouldn't have been allowed to masquerade with a mask and his big crazy wig on when he's obviously a male, and then go into the women's restroom. Now, I'm gonna say this because I know somebody might get offended. Somebody might want to flag this video. I'm not saying that anybody that identifies as transgender or gender nonconforming or non-binary, whatever they want, I'm not saying that everyone who identifies as that is going to go into women's restroom and attack someone or film them or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that. However, there are going to be men that take advantage of that law and violate it. We've seen it happen before. We saw the whole We Spa situation out there in LA, where it was a man who had all his male parts swinging and flinging in the girl side of the spa. Women and little girls are complaining, hey, this man is over here swinging his stuff in front of my kid's face. And they're saying, well, he identifies as one. What are we going to do? You see what I'm saying? It's the laws out there that prevent them from taking their appropriate action. If the laws weren't there that say you can identify as whatever you want and go wherever you want, then he wouldn't be allowed to be over there. Okay? There was also a case, I think, somewhere on the left coast. It might have been Seattle, somewhere. I'm not really sure. But this guy, I think he assaulted somebody in the restroom. And then, of course, we saw the situation out there in Northern Virginia where a 12-year-old girl was assaulted in the bathroom by one of her, I guess, classmates, a boy that, quote unquote, identified as trans. He did the same thing at another school or at the same school and finally got arrested. But you could have prevented that. I'm not saying 100% stop, but you could have prevented that by not having a law in the books that says you can identify as trans or whatever, and then go into the women's restroom, locker room, the spa, or whatever it is. I can do a story like this almost every week, maybe even every day, because you're going to have men that violate this particular law. Now, is that really the case the other way around as far as XX women identifying as men and going into the men's restroom? Not necessarily. Not as far as them, harassing the men or assaulting the men. Now, they might get assaulted by the men. I say if you have a woman, biological woman, going into a male restroom, there's probably a higher chance of her being assaulted by the men than it is of her assaulting the men. You see what I'm saying? Just because of physical differences and whatnot. It is what it is. Now, I'm not trying to say anything negative about men. Obviously, I'm a man. I'm just trying to say the whole thing makes no sense. If you want to have a single gender bathroom, have a single stall bathroom, you go to a gas station and you get the key from the back or whatever, if they still do that. You go to the one stall where it locks behind you. You can't have more than one in there at the same time. It might be room for one stall and a baby changing station, and that's it. It's not like this communal space where everybody's able to go in there. You see what I'm saying? Now, this also kind of makes people a little afraid of their deliveries. Who's coming to your house? You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not sure what kind of vetting was done to get this guy on there as a driver, but I think once you see a lot of staffing shortages, you're going to see a lot more guys that probably shouldn't be on the job. People with, crazy felonies. I'm not saying that anyone with a felony should be barred from a job, but here's an example. If you have multiple felonies of theft, fraud, financial crimes, and then you get hired at a bank, well, one might assume that you're going to try to steal from the bank that you got hired at because you got a history of financial crimes, maybe even some recent offenses, writing bad checks, stuff like that. You're going to have a higher chance of going to the bank and trying to steal from them, okay? If you got a lot of crimes against women, a lot of battery and stuff like that, and then you get a job at a women's shelter, you see what I'm saying? Because there's a staffing issue now, and I think they're going to be kind of desperate to get workers. They're going to pay them higher, and then they're going to accept lower qualifications. So, yeah, I just say definitely be careful about who comes to your house. I got my camera set up, so, and I got some stuff inside the house, too. I won't talk on that. I had guns back in the day, but there was a tragic boating accident. I lost them all. But there's definitely some prizes and surprises in here. Don't test your luck. But at the end of the day, as I close, You got to stop this stuff that people think is okay. I think people that make these rules and make these laws don't really care about the side effects. They just live in this world where either they look at everything through rose-colored glasses, like nobody who identifies as trans or whatever would ever harm someone, or they don't really care about that. They're not really worried about the safety of people. All they're worried about is maybe just trying to virtue signal and saying, hey, I got that particular law passed. I was able to push through and go above and beyond. I was able to beat all the odds. I was able to get past the LGBTQ, elemental P phobia, the transphobia, homophobia, whatever. I was able to get through all of that and get this placed on the books, caring not about the actual consequences of their actions. It's a crazy world, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this Amazon driver being allowed to throw on the wig and the mask or whatever and go into the women's restroom and do what he did? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I say, hey, take them out back and just have that be that. Don't waste taxpayer money and time and nothing. You just got to go. Kids and you see, if you was to go in there and steal something from an Amazon package, I'm like, okay, that's petty theft. Make them pay a fine or whatever. Don't even really go to jail. Well, maybe go to jail, but pay a fine. It's not really that big of a deal if you're just stealing. But you're doing something like this. Oh no, you got to go. Ain't gonna be no going to trial. Just go ahead and just get done with right away, and let's save the taxpayer expense and having this guy's mug be on the news. I don't want to see it. I don't want to deal with it. And I think maybe if we had harsher penalties for certain crimes, and if we didn't incentivize certain crimes or create the environment for these crimes to happen, maybe they wouldn't happen as often as they do. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.